And showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. A look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I'm executive editor of the ChannelPro Network. I am also one of your two hosts of this program. I am joined this week, as every week, by your other host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement consultant for MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how goes it this week?
It goes well this week, Rich. Looking forward to Q4 and seeing what new developments we have in store other than, an election coming up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We've been through so much this year, and I'm in Seattle, you're in Southern California. We're both sort of dealing with the latest indignity, which is that you can't even go outside and breathe fresh oxygen. What will Q4 hold in store for us? Maybe you can't go anywhere but up.
Let's hope so, Rich. Let's hope so.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you there. Let's dive into our top story of the week here, and it comes to us from HP, which just yesterday, as a matter of fact, held their annual Reinvent Conference online, of course, because nobody's doing the events in person right now. They had a ton of product news that they made at the show, but what I kind of want to zero in on here is a new as-a-service procurement option that they introduced specifically for SMBs. So HP has actually been kind of progressive in the as-a-service, hardware as-a-service kind of area. They, for over 4 years now, they've been doing desktop as a service. Originally, they were really kind of targeting the enterprise for that service and gradually kind of moving that offering more in the direction of SMB. What they introduced this week is something that really from the get-go is tailored to the SMB market. And what it does, it takes HP hardware, so PCs, monitors, printers, accessories. You get a bundle of HP hardware, and then you add on top of that remote management, which is not like RMM remote management, but essentially they're going to be monitoring the health of those devices, looking for indicators of potential failures and alerting you if they see something that might be a problem that might be coming down the road. And then there is a services and support component to it, which is kind of interesting as well. If there is a problem with the device, they will pick it up, they will drop a fresh device or a repaired device off for you. They can actually do on-site break fix as well. There is a premium upgrade for the service. If you spend a little bit more money with them, you can get a security bundle along with that, accidental damage protection. So it's a really complete kind of offering that somebody who sells to SMBs can bring to their customers at a fairly reasonable price. It's going to be subscription based. So your customers who like paying for everything as a service can now pay not only for their hardware, but for a lot of the services that surround that hardware on an as a service kind of basis. And they've got a lot of different price points. Basically, they've defined two different core audiences or end user categories for the offering. One would just be the standard home or office user base. The other would be more like the power users, the architects and engineers who are doing CAD and so on, maybe need more powerful hardware. But within each of those categories, you've got a good, better, best set of options to choose from. As you move up that scale, it's going to cost you a little bit more. But the lowest end package for the standard home or office user, the good package starts out at $29.99 per user per month. So, and this is significant because we are in the era of work from home computing right now. The repair and support services I was talking about, the pickup, the drop off, the on-site break fix, that can be done at a home location or an office location. So if you're an MSP who can't or doesn't really want to be supporting end users at all of their different homes when they run into hardware issues, here's an opportunity to offload a little bit of that to HP if you partner with those folks. So it's kind of an interesting thing, Eric, at a time when a lot of people are really kind of looking to get away from the hardware business to some extent. Here's a very interesting way to satisfy the needs, the hardware needs of your end users that doesn't require you to do maybe as much work as you did before around that. And it's also a fit for work from home and the coronavirus era here. Because they have built in the capacity to support those work from home end users.
Wow, it's very interesting, Rich. And I, as I'm listening, I'm just thinking MSP, HP, MSP, HP, NSP, HP. Holy cow. So partners today struggle to deliver, just those basic services. I mean, for less than that, or that 29.99 a month threshold for the good package. And so to layer on top of that, service desk to deal with the end users, and to have, the hardware kind of health alerting taken care of for you, and the depot services, right? That's what we call these depot services, where someone comes out and actually swaps the machine and all that. So you're really eliminating those truck rolls for on-site hardware support, which typically can be the most costliest type of service that MSPs can deliver. So I'm thinking, just doing math in my brain, the MSP is paying $29.99 a month for the general users, maybe, a little bit more for more power users or VIPs, and then layering on top just their help desk services, and maybe, some remote monitoring, patching agents and things like that. It sounds to me like their cost of service delivery could actually be lower than what they're doing today, allowing allowing the benefit for their clients to write off, those services that they're paying for, as operating expenses, or receive benefits from a tax perspective, instead of having refresh cycles every few years for these devices. What I'm curious about, Rich, is, on this, and it's a hardware as a service place, so there's a refresh there. So what are the details on the refresh cycle for these devices?
And unfortunately, I don't know what the cycle is, if it's like every 3 years or something like that. And I also don't know right now if they offer you options on that. If you can kind of set that on your own site. It's a little hard to say. But you could guess 3 years, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what we see out there, right? So I think it's a pretty amazing offer. So we'll have to see what the adoption looks like, and what kind of pressure, this might put on, other outsourced vendors that do some of that, right? So some of the other Haas vendors, and maybe even, I'm curious to see how that may impact, outsourced support as well, because now maybe an MSP that's outsourcing a lot of help desk and feet on the street on-site support may see this as an opportunity to bring some of that back in house and deliver the help desk component of it at a much more profitable price point, and not have to hire as many people to deliver it. So it's very interesting. There's a lot of little levers there that you can tweak, I think.
And I mean, I think you're getting at something really important about it to note, which is just that you're going to hear that the service comes with remote management and think, well, that's what I do, and that's how I make my money. But it isn't. They're not doing patch management. They're not doing help desk. So that piece of it is very much complementary with what a typical MSP is going to be doing. And then to your point, they are taking off your hands some of the stuff that you don't necessarily want to do, or may find is costing you a lot of money. I threw a whole lot of details at people about this program. The one I left out is what it's called. For anyone who wants to research it and learn more about it, it's called HP Business Boost. And they just announced it yesterday, and I'm sure you can check it out on their website now. So, a whole new different way to think about what you sell and how you sell it, Eric. And that is a great lead into your tip of the week.
Yes, it is. Good segue, Rich. So tip of the week this week is to analyze and adjust your techniques for selling and supporting cloud services. As we move further and further into the cloud, Rich, and farther away from managing on-premise devices and fat, client applications and things like that, we're seeing the evolution of pricing models, sales cycles, service delivery processes shift in unique and different ways. I mean, and you know, we know some IT providers have decided that they're only going to resell and deliver cloud services or security services, which in the big scheme of things typically doesn't require any kind of on-site visits or truck rolls. You know, maybe on the security side, if you're, you know, racking some appliances and things like that, you know, we could see that. But I also, you know, work with partners that are basically drop shipping things that they're asking a client to just plug in, that they remote into now and set up. So this, you know, new evolution of migration to the cloud kind of removes the geographic boundaries that partners have traditionally kind of held themselves to, right? So when you remove the geographic boundary that says, oh, I don't have to travel to sell or deliver my services, and a lot of these partners now are becoming really adept at virtual sales, right? And I'm doing a lot of training and webinars around that topic. Now we start thinking about how does that impact the organization as a whole, because the sales cycles, you know, can be a little bit more transactional, right, with cloud services. I mean, even some partners may be posting their pricing for cloud bundles and cloud services on their websites. We see that with cybersecurity partners, you know, sometimes posting their pricing, which kind of, you know, on the one side of the fence kind of flies in the face of consultative sales and building value and things like that. But, you know, we have an opportunity to determine, do we want to go after market share and leverage, you know, those transactional opportunities as lead magnets almost to then qualify for additional products and services and solutions while maintaining our consultative side of the house? Or are we, you know, seeing more of a migration away from the on-premise type of service? And, you know, the HP story that you just shared with us kind of helps become an accelerant to some of that, right? So rethink your business model in terms of, you know, if you're still hanging on to some of these tried and true methods and your pricing is incorporating, you know, so many on-site visits to clients and things like that, maybe reshape your services in a way that says, oh, well, I'm going to try to reduce those on-site visits. I'm going to try to reduce my costs from doing that. I'm going to shift more toward maybe a Haas model, but certainly focus on more migration to the cloud and managing and maintaining cloud services solutions and cybersecurity solutions for my clients, and adapt your sales, onboarding, migration and deployment and ongoing maintenance methodologies to support that. And, you know, I'll bet you $1, you probably come out a little bit more profitable and a little less stressed on the way.
You know, it's an interesting thing because there are a number of different ways for a ChannelPro to deal with the transition to cloud computing. And, you know, one of the models basically is to create a high volume, high velocity kind of sales process in which you really need to be rethinking not just, you know, what you sell, but how you sell, because you got to generate a lot of leads on a continual basis. And the other, you know, most popular reaction to that basically is almost to go in entirely the other direction and to get more consultative, and kind of leave, you know, leave some of the transactional stuff and the stuff that people buy based on prices that they can find on websites and so on to other people. And you're more about layering value on top of those software licenses, online software licenses. And you know, it is about the consulting and the business process optimization and so on, and the stuff that requires you to really understand a client's business and provide that kind of strategic insight. But really, either way, you're not going to be doing business the way that you were before. So I think that the core piece of advice you're talking about there, Eric, is really, really important, basically, which is to rethink or create a different way of approaching sales and marketing around cloud computing, because it's a very different market for most people who have been in the industry for a while, at least.
Right, and I think there's momentum right now, right, especially with the work from home, you know, situation and all that. I think that, you know, from a from an evolutionary perspective, right? Because it's kind of we are slowly but surely moving toward the cloud, whether some of us have dug our heels in and are fighting it or not. This is where we're going. This is where business is going. So again, what are we doing to reevaluate, what we're delivering, how much it's costing us to deliver and sell that way, and supporting this shift in a way that makes us more efficient, more profitable, and less, having to deal with less noise along the way.
All right. Well, that leaves us time for just one more story this week. And it has to do with the phenomenon. I mean, actually, this phenomenon sort of predates the coronavirus, but it does have an interesting connection to it. I mean, if you're looking for a sign maybe that you've been spending too much time at home, and I mean, it's the safest place to be still for most of us. How do you know maybe you've been spending too much time there and starting to go a little stir crazy? Well, maybe if there's some evidence that you've joined the technosexuals. Now, who are the technosexuals? This is a new category that's recently been discovered, invented, I suppose, by a company called WeVibe, and I'm already in dangerous territory, right? WeVibe is a sex toy maker. And they went out and they did some research, and they researched, or surveyed rather, 1,000 men, and discovered that 14% of them confessed that they are sexually aroused by their Amazon smart speaker, by you-know-who, Alexa. 14% of them. Now, again, I don't know exactly when this study happened, and the phenomenon that they say they're talking about here isn't one that's specifically related to lockdowns or work from home or whatever, but I would just submit, if you suddenly find yourself here deep into 2020, getting a little turned on by Alexa, it might be a sign that you kind of need to get out a little bit and just broaden your range of contacts.
Yeah, socially distanced with a little bit more human, beings rather than AIs, right? It just reminds me, these folks, the 14% of men that respond that way probably have, every version of the movie Her on DVD, digital, ready to go. I just got done watching, got through the first season, which was 2 seasons of this Russian series on Netflix called Better Than Us, and it's all about androids and robotics, and how there's this challenge between what folks are using them for and the threat that they are making to the working class because they'll be taking their jobs. So interesting stuff. I mean, we always joke about Skynet and how it all starts, Rich. Well, 14% on the way there, it sounds like.
On that interesting note, thank you so much for joining us. That's all the time we've got this week on the 5-Minute Roundup. If you like the show, you want to maybe check out some episodes you missed in the past, keep up with the new ones as they become available, best thing to do is go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube and subscribe there. Make sure you click that little bell icon if you want to get notifications when the new episodes go up. You want to read more about HP Business Boost and all of those HP hardware products that were announced this week, and just get lots of great industry insights and business growth advice for your company, please go to channelpronetwork.com on a daily basis, because we have got great new content going up for you there every single day. To learn more about Eric and the work he does with his clients, please visit ericsimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. Once again, thank you so much for joining us this week in the 5-Minute Roundup. We will be back again next week with another episode. Until then, folks, please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.